Howdy folks, back at it again with another pixel art for Photoshop tutorial. I'm excited, you're excited, we're all excited, and we're gonna get going here. A couple things I should mention. First of all, I'm not in my ideal resolution on this screen, so that's why my cursor's so gigantic, but that's okay, you can see it a little better then. And secondly, this little white box here is actually gonna show us the keystrokes that we are going to use today, so that's going to be really handy. We'll come back to that. I'll tell you what those keystrokes are, so keep your eye on it if you want to know how to do things a bit faster with keystrokes instead of clicking on the toolbar on the right here. I'm going to start a new document now that we've done our setup of the window, which was our last tutorial, the way we want it with color and swatches over here. I'm going to start a new thing, so let's Control N. Starts a new document. I've already set it up last time to pixels, but make sure yours is set up to pixels over here. I can call this document pixel art 1, and I'm going to do 32 by 32 pixels. Okay, we talked in class about what pixels are. Basically, everything that happens on a computer is made up of pixels. And 32 by 32 is actually a really small amount of pixels. It's like old school video games from the 80s and early 90s were done with this many pixels. Stardew Valley, the characters in Stardew Valley are actually 16 by 16 pixels. So it can be a small amount or a large amount depending on how you want to look at it. Okay. You can leave this at 72 pixels per inch. That is fine for our purposes. You can leave everything else the same and create your thing. Now, if you notice right away, your canvas is tiny. It's because, like I said, 32 by 32 is, for Photoshop standards, quite low. So we're going to zoom in. If we remember how to zoom in, we hold down the Alt key and we use the mouse wheel. So here we go. We're filling up our canvas with this. And we're going to come in here and we're going to take a look. Now, the first thing that is going to happen, we can click on the brush here and we'll click on a color, sure, red. And if we come in here and we start brushing on it, it's just terrible. That's not what we're doing for pixel art. So we're not going to do that at all. We're not going to use a brush. We are instead going to use the pencil tool. So the pencil tool is on the side here. You can use B to switch to either the brush or the pencil tool. It's just going to go back to the last one you used, which is going to be, for your purposes, the pencil tool. So now if I click red, I can do one at a time pixels. All right, there we go. And you'll notice that every time I click on the canvas, another instance happens in my history. I find history very useful for this kind of thing. I'm going to go back to just the very beginning. And so we can see that we have a white canvas with our pencil strokes taken away, but they're still there if we want to rewind and fast forward history. That's what history panel is quite useful. But before we get started though, with pixel art, we want to have a transparent background. So we do that by clicking, we're making a selection around our white box. We're actually going to delete the whiteness of our box here. So we do that with the M for marquee tool. And we're going to grab from the top corner to the bottom corner, and then we're just going to hit the delete key. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. This is what happens. I forgot to unlock my background. And now if we delete it, then it should work. You can actually see there's a little grid in here. It's not showing up very well, but we'll just ignore that for now. We have the whole thing selected right now. We don't need to select anything, so press Control D to deselect everything. And now we have a transparent canvas. So anything we put on here, if we put a background on later, it's going to show up behind the background, which is really useful for the kind of art that pixel art generally is. Okay, so we have our canvas here. I'm just going to change this to white for later purposes. We go back to our brush or our pencil, and we can start drawing something here. I just generally start with a heart because I'm, sappy like that. We have a very small pixel heart. If I want to zoom out, you can start to see what it looks like. And I can create several hearts if I wanted to the long way. Okay, that's not a super good way to do it. It's easier, again, to press M for marquee tool. Grab that. And then let's say we want to move this around. You press the V key to move it around. So press V once and then click and drag. It'll automatically select it. Okay. If I wanted to duplicate that, I could Control C and Control V, but you'll see it also open up a new layer. I'll be talking about the layers in the next video, but for now, just ignore the fact that it's multiple layers. Okay, so now we have different hearts. We can go into our paint bucket tool, and we have red selected here. So we can, not on the right layer, that's why. I can fill my hearts, but I can only fill this one because it's that layer there, and that doesn't look very good. So we can come back and want to erase the sides here so it looks a bit more like a heart again. How do I erase? I press E to erase. Your eraser might default to brush. Look what happens when I erase by brush. You can see it kind of still has a bit of a transparent edge around that. We don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my history here, go back to my paint bucket. And I will change my brush mode to pencil to knock away a couple of these things to make it much more heart-like. And I can just continue to work on this till it's a heart that I like. Okay, so that is the marquee tool, the move tool, and the brush tool or the pencil tool, and the eraser tool. And you can go ahead and get started on your transparent canvas for pixel art.